There comes a moment in life when someone will cross the line. Say something that cuts deep, challenge your worth, mock your silence. And in that moment, everything in you will want to react, to clap back, to defend yourself, to prove who you are. But here's the truth. Real power doesn't perform for approval. Real strength doesn't answer disrespect with more noise. It stays quiet. Not because it's afraid, but because it refuses to shrink to the level of ignorance. You see, your silence speaks. It says, I know who I am. It says, you're not worth my energy. It says, I don't argue with chaos. I rise above it. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to explain your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to entertain disrespect just to feel seen. Because those who truly carry power, they don't chase respect. They embody it. They move in silence and let success make all the noise. So the next time you're disrespected, don't lower your standards to match their behavior. Elevate your response by giving them nothing. Not anger, not attention, not even a word. Stay quiet, keep building, keep winning. Let your presence become so undeniable that their words echo into emptiness, while you rise into greatness. Silence after disrespect is not weakness, it's control. It's one of the most misunderstood responses in human interaction. People often think that if you don't respond, you're afraid. If you don't retaliate, you're soft. If you don't speak up, you must be incapable of defending yourself. But that's where they're wrong. Silence isn't always surrender. In fact, sometimes silence is the most powerful statement you can make, because it shows that you are not reactive. You are deliberate. You are not driven by impulse. You are anchored in discipline. You are not controlled by external noise. You are centered in internal peace. It's easy to explode. It's easy to let your emotions take over. It's easy to say something you'll regret later. But silence, that takes power. It takes the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove anything. The kind of strength that says, I know what I bring to the table. I don't need to lower myself to be seen. When someone disrespects you and you respond with calmness instead of chaos, it shows you've mastered something that very few ever will. Self-control. In a world that constantly tells you to fight back, to stand up, to never let anyone disrespect you without a response, it can feel unnatural to stay quiet. But what if your quiet was the most deafening response of all? What if your refusal to engage was actually you taking control of the situation? Because when you answer every insult, every jab, every rude comment, you're dancing to someone else's tune. You're letting them control the tempo. You're giving them exactly what they want, a reaction. But when you stay quiet, you don't give them that satisfaction. You don't feed the fire. You don't play their game. You show that you're above the drama, above the pettiness, above the need to always respond. And that level of control, it's rare. That level of power, it's respected even by those who try to disrespect you in the first. Imagine someone insults you in front of others. The room goes quiet, waiting for your response. They expect an outburst, a comeback, a defensive rant. But you give them nothing. You just look at them with peace in your eyes, maybe a small smile and move on. That moment, right there, that's power. That's not you backing down. That's you choosing not to descend. That's you protecting your energy like it's sacred. Because it is. People who lash out after disrespect might feel strong in the moment, but often they regret it later. Words said in anger leave scars. On both sides, bridges burn. Reputations crack, opportunities vanish. But the one who stayed composed, they walk away untouched. Their dignity remains intact. Their focus remains sharp. Their name is entangled in drama. And while others are replaying that moment over and over and over, regretting what they said or trying to fix what they broke, the quiet one keeps moving forward. Silence is a choice, not a limitation. It's a conscious decision to protect your mind, your spirit, your energy. It's a decision to focus on what matters most. Your purpose, your goals, your peace. Disrespect is a distraction. And people who disrespect you often want to distract you. They want to bring you down, throw you off track, interrupt your flow. They can't match your work ethic, your mindset, your confidence, so they try to provoke you. And if you react, they win. But if you stay quiet, you keep your eyes on your path. You don't even flinch. And that rattles them more than any angry response ever could. Control is a muscle. The more you practice silence in the face of disrespect, the stronger that muscle becomes. You start to see through people. You start to hear the pain behind their insults, the insecurity behind their arrogance, the fear behind their aggression. And when you see that clearly, you no longer feel the need to respond. You start to realize it's not even about you, it's about them. Their words say more about their character than about your worth. And here's the most beautiful part. Silence doesn't just protect your peace, it multiplies it. Every time you choose not to respond to negativity, you reinforce a mindset of strength. You build emotional resilience. You create a mental space where clarity can thrive. Instead of wasting time arguing with someone who doesn't even respect themselves, you use that time to grow, to focus, to elevate. You trade noise for progress. You trade chaos for clarity. So don't let the world trick you into believing that being quiet means being weak. Don't let people convince you that silence equals submission. Sometimes silence is the sound of rising, the sound of leveling up, the sound of walking away from nonsense with your crown still on your head. It's not about letting disrespect slide. It's about choosing which battles are worthy of your presence. Not everything needs a reply. Not every situation requires your voice. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do, the bravest, boldest, most empowering thing, is to simply say nothing and walk away with your power intact. Not everything deserves your energy. That's a truth you begin to understand as you grow, not just in age, but in mindset, in emotional intelligence, and in purpose. You begin to see that life isn't about reacting to every trigger, responding to every insult, or explaining yourself to everyone who questions your worth. Your energy is a currency. And just like with money, if you spend it carelessly, you end up bankrupt, emotionally bankrupt, spiritually drained, mentally exhausted. The people who disrespect you, who provoke you, who test you, they are not always attacking your character. Sometimes they are testing your control. And the moment you respond with emotion, you give them exactly what they wanted, your power. When you understand the value of your energy, you stop entertaining nonsense. You stop engaging with people who only want to argue, who thrive on drama, who feed off negativity. You start asking yourself one simple but powerful question before reacting. Is this worth it? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. That insult, not worth it. That rude comment online, not worth it. That person trying to drag you into an argument, not worth it. Why? Because the moment you respond, you shift your focus. You exit your path to walk into their chaos. People will poke at you just to see if they can shake you. They'll throw jabs and passive-aggressive remarks and subtle disrespect just to see if they still have access to your emotions. But you don't have to play that game. You don't have to prove yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to shrink yourself just to be understood by people who operate on lower frequencies. Your peace, your time, your energy, they are sacred. You protect them not by building walls, but by learning to walk away. Engagement is a choice. And every time you give your energy to someone who doesn't deserve it, you are making a choice to prioritize them over your purpose. Think about that. Every moment spent arguing, defending, or proving is a moment stolen from your growth. You could be learning. You could be building. You could be healing, creating, evolving. But instead, you're stuck in a cycle of reaction. And the worst part, it never ends. Because once people know they can get a rise out of you, they will keep trying. They will keep pushing buttons. They will keep testing limits. And you will find yourself constantly on edge, constantly fighting, constantly drained. But when you choose not to respond, when you choose to keep your energy reserved for what truly matters, everything begins to shift. People don't know what to do with someone they can't provoke. They don't know how to handle someone who refuses to play the game. Then slowly, they lose interest. Not because you're weak, but because your silence starves them. Your peace confuses them. Your calmness disarms them. And that's the beauty of protecting your energy. It sets boundaries without saying a word. Some people want you to match their disrespect. They want you to stoop to their level. They want you to argue, to scream, to react, because that's where they feel powerful. But when you don't respond, you don't just protect your energy. You expose their weakness. You expose their weakness. You show that they can't control you, that their words don't define you, that their behavior has nothing to do with your truth. And that kind of unbothered energy is something no insult can touch. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Just because someone throws dirt doesn't mean you have to get dirty too. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misunderstand. Your focus should be on your growth, not their gossip. Your time should be spent on your journey, not their drama. Your energy should be invested in becoming who you're meant to be, not in proving who you already are. It takes maturity to let people think what they want to think. It takes strength to walk away from disrespect without feeling the need to explain yourself. But every time you do it, you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that not everything requires your attention. That not every battle is meant to be fought. That sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to simply keep walking. With your head high, with your peace intact, with your focus unshaken. Because at the end of the day, your energy is all you have. And where you choose to place it determines everything. Your mood, your mindset, your future. So choose wisely, choose peace over pride, choose focus over fury, choose growth over gossip. The world is full of noise, full of people trying to pull you into their storms. But you're not here to fight every battle. You're here to win the war within yourself. The war to stay focused, the war to stay disciplined, the war to become your highest self. And to win that war, you have to protect your energy like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Let your growth, success, and self-discipline be the loudest response. Because in the end, actions always speak louder than words. Especially when your words are being ignored, twisted, or thrown back in your face. When you've been disrespected, mocked, or underestimated, the natural impulse is to respond, to speak up, to defend. But the truth is, nothing proves your value more than results. Nothing silences doubt like undeniable progress. You don't need to argue with people who only see the version of you that makes them feel comfortable. You show them, not with your voice, but with your vision, with your results, with your transformation. People can challenge your words, but they can't challenge your evolution. They can deny your potential all they want, but they can't deny your success when it becomes real. The noise they make now, it fades. But your growth, that echoes, that lingers, that inspires. When someone disrespects you, what they're really saying is, I don't believe in you. And your job is not to convince them otherwise. Your job is to believe in yourself so completely that their doubt becomes irrelevant. Your job is to channel that disrespect into fuel, not fire that burns everything down, but fuel that builds you higher. You don't need to post about your every move. You don't need to announce every milestone. You don't need to explain your process. What you need is to stay locked in, stay consistent, stay disciplined. Because eventually, your work will speak for itself. Eventually, the people who once disrespected you will have no choice but to watch. They might not applaud. They might not admit they were wrong. But they will see you. They will witness your growth. And they'll know that they had no power over you. Not really. Self-discipline is the bridge between disrespect and victory. When you stay quiet and focus on yourself instead of clapping back, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're building something better. Every time you resist the urge to retaliate, you win a battle inside your own mind. You sharpen your focus. You reinforce your identity. You choose to grow instead of shrink. And that kind of control, it's rare. It's powerful. It's what separates those who talk from those who rise. Think about it. Anyone can talk. Anyone can throw insults, play games, stir drama. That takes no real strength. But staying focused on your path while people try to tear you down, that's next level. That's maturity. That's greatness in motion. You want revenge? Don't serve it cold. Serve it in silence. Let them see your name in rooms they can't enter. Let them hear about your success in spaces they never thought you'd reach. Let your glow up make the statement. Because at some point, all the talking dies down. The insults get old. The noise fades. And what's left is you and the life you've built. What's left is your mindset, your health, your relationships, your craft. If you spent all your time reacting to disrespect, you'd have no energy left to build that life. But if you channel that energy, redirect it inward, and stay focused, everything changes. The people who try to break you become part of your story, not the end of it. Their disrespect becomes a footnote in a much bigger narrative. A narrative written in effort, in growth, in achievement. People remember what you built, not what you said in anger. No one looks back and says, he had the best comebacks. They say, he built something meaningful. They say, she never lost focus. They say, they kept going even when others doubted them. That's what lasts. That's what matters. And that's what you're capable of. If you can rise above the noise. Growth is the best revenge. Success is the best answer. Discipline is the best armor. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to win your own race. To become the kind of person who can't be shaken by disrespect because you're too busy leveling up. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them throw shade. None of it matters if you're still growing. None of it touches you if your focus is stronger than their hate. Every minute spent arguing with people who don't believe in you is a minute taken from building the life that will prove them wrong. Every ounce of energy spent trying to be understood by small minds is energy taken from becoming someone beyond explanation. You're not here to convince them. You're here to evolve past them. So let your work speak. Let your actions echo. Let your transformation tell the story. And while they're stuck talking about who you were, you'll be busy becoming someone they never even saw coming. That's how you respond. That's how you rise. That's how you win. You see, there comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide who they truly are, not in the eyes of others, but in the truth of their own soul. That moment is not born in comfort. It doesn't come wrapped in applause. It arrives quietly, wrapped in the pain of disrespect, in the sting of betrayal, in the weight of being misunderstood. And in that silence, you must choose. Will you become reactive, or will you become unstoppable? When they doubt you, when they disrespect you, when they try to write you off as nothing more than background noise in their own story, remember this: every great transformation begins in the shadows. Every powerful soul has walked through fire without screaming. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to prove them wrong with anger. You prove them wrong by rising. Again, and again, and again. Disrespect is not your enemy. It's your training ground. It's the place where you decide if you're easily shaken or deeply rooted. It's the moment when your character gets tested, not by applause, but by silence. Not by praise, but by insult. Not when you're seen, but when you're overlooked. And if you can survive that, if you can keep going when they laugh, when they whisper, when they belittle you, then you are already winning. Because you're no longer seeking validation. You're building value. The most powerful people in this world are not the ones who shout back at every insult. They are not the ones who waste their breath explaining their worth. The most powerful are the ones who keep walking, who stay focused, who grow so silently that the next time they're seen, they're unrecognizable. That's what you're becoming. Someone unstoppable, someone disciplined. Someone disciplined, someone with a mind so locked in on growth that disrespect doesn't even cause a ripple in your soul. Let people talk. Let them assume. Let them doubt. Because every second you spend trying to fix their perception is a second stolen from your greatness. You weren't put on this earth to make people like you. You were put here to become the best version of yourself. And that version, your highest self, doesn't argue with noise. It doesn't dance with drama. It doesn't shrink to fit into someone else's narrative. It expands, quietly, relentlessly, powerfully. You don't need to respond to disrespect with words. You respond by turning pain into power, wounds into wisdom, and silence into results. You rise by mastering your emotions, by choosing peace over pride, growth over gossip, destiny over drama. You rise not because you have to prove anything, but because you're done being pulled into anything that dims your light. And understand this: silence is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. One where your energy is sacred. One where your time is gold. One where your purpose cannot be disturbed by petty noise. When you stay quiet after disrespect, you are not giving up. You are leveling up. You're choosing to invest in something greater than revenge. You're investing in your evolution. And that's how the strongest, are built. 1. Not in easy moments, but in the hardest ones. Not when they are praised, but when they are disrespected and still rise. You have that strength within you. You have that fire. You have that unshakable power to look at pain and say, I'll use this. To look at disrespect and say, oh, watch me. To walk into every setback with your head high, knowing that silence is not weakness, it is strategy. So walk with focus, speak with purpose, grow with fire. Let your transformation be so undeniable that the same people who disrespected you now sit in awe of what you've become. Not because you proved them wrong out of pride, but because you stayed loyal to your path, your peace, and your vision. The greatest revenge is not to fight. It's to succeed. It's to shine. It's to thrive in spaces where no one thought you could survive. It's to become the person they never saw coming. So protect your energy. Guard your vision. Stay rooted in your discipline. And remember, the silence after disrespect is not the absence of a response. It's the presence of mastery. You are not here to be small. You are not here to be reactionary. You are here to be powerful. And your power lies in how you carry yourself, how you rise, how you grow in the dark until your light cannot be ignored. That's your legacy. That's your mission. That's your rise. Now go and become